police traffic stops, a public art unveiling, and festive ales. All this and more on this week's edition of Lexington Now. I'm Neil Noah, and this is Lexington Now for the week of August 5th, 2019. We've all had a time or two when we've seen flashing blue lights in our rearview mirror and gotten that sinking feeling that we may be about to get pulled over. But did you know the do's and don'ts of traffic stops? We find out in this episode of Rules of the Road.
Welcome back to Rules of the Road, where motorist safety is our number one goal, and it all starts with education. It's talked about a lot in our world today, and often in a negative way, but traffic stops are the most common way citizens and police interact. We know that it's not pleasant to be pulled over. I mean, the officer that's stopping you knows this is not going to be the highlight of your day, but they are looking for certain things, and we would advise drivers to act in a certain way that keeps both them safe, the passengers in the car safe, and the officer that's making the stop safe. So the first thing we would want you to do is, if you realize you're being pulled over, we want you to slow down and pull over safely on the shoulder of the roadway, preferably the right shoulder of the roadway, and get completely out of the lane of traffic. That's the biggest danger typically in a traffic stop is passing traffic, and so getting off the roadway and out of the way of traffic is important for both you and the police officer. Secondly, we would remind you to put your car in park. You know, people are nervous, they forget that sometimes, and to roll down your windows. The officer would certainly appreciate it if you would turn off or turn down your radio and put down your cell phone and limit any distractions. That way you can focus on what they're asking of you and you can listen to what the instructions they're giving you. After that, if it's nighttime, if you're stopped nighttime during dark, the officer would appreciate you turning on an interior light, so that way they can see you moving around inside, because the officer does not know who you are at that moment. They don't know if you're a threat or not. You may very well know that you're not a threat at all, but the officer that's coming up to you don't know that. So anything you can do to put them at ease in the situation and know you're not trying to be evasive or hide anything certainly would improve the environment for the traffic stop. Make sure that both your hands are visible. So typically we tell people just to keep your hands on the steering wheel visible so the officer can see it as they approach, and then they'll tell you from there if they need something, then you can retrieve it. If you have a concealed carry license, if you're carrying a weapon in your car and you have it with you, then it's important to tell the officer immediately that you have this and where it is before you take your hands off the steering wheel. Then the officer will instruct you whether or not they want you to remove it, or to show you, or for you to show them where it is, or they may tell you that's fine, just don't touch it while we're dealing with this. So, but if you must reach into a compartment such as your glove box and your console to retrieve some ID, your driver's license or your insurance or your paperwork like that, make sure that you tell the officer where you're going to reach and what you're reaching for before you do it. Again, that just helps put the officer at ease and know that you're not trying to hurt them. And the police will check the fact that you have a valid driver's license, valid insurance, and usually your proof of registration. Those are things that are standard that you can expect to be asked for on a traffic stop. And then the officer will inform you of the reason why they pulled you over. So our officers they're trained to come up and introduce who they are. I'm Sergeant Randall Combs, Lexington Police Department. The reason I stopped you is this. And that's typically the way that the traffic stop starts, and then the officer will ask for certain paperwork and documents. We certainly appreciate dealing with people that are very kind and respectful, and that basically when I deal with people that acknowledge, oh yeah, you stopped me for speeding, I'm sorry, I was going a little too fast, that kind of thing. People that accept responsibility for what they did, that certainly changes the course of a traffic stop. Typically, as far as the interaction, it may not keep you from getting a citation, but certainly the officer appreciates your kindness and your willingness to accept responsibility. And I'll tell you, our officers can issue warnings in certain circumstances, so I'm sure that they, it would be possible for an officer to issue a warning, and those things are entirely up to them and their discretion. But we do want people to be kind, and we expect our officers to be kind to them and respectful as well. And I can assure you that if you're kind and respectful to the officer, then you can expect to get that in return from them. Something that we often tell people is that to be patient on these traffic stops. They do take a little while sometimes. The officer is required to check things through his computer and wait for things to come back and information. So just be patient and relax. We know that you're in a hurry and you got places to get to, and I'm going to assure the officer wants to complete the traffic stop as quickly as possible also. And then if you do not agree with the traffic stop, or you do not think that you did what the officer said you did, keep in mind that on the side of the road is not the place to argue this. This is not the place to basically offer a defense for what you did, or become combative or resistant or anything like that. That's what court's for. You'll be given a court date if you're issued a citation where you have the opportunity to come and plead your case before the court, and you can present your defense or your reasoning why you don't believe that you're guilty of what the officer says you are. Again, that's the place for that, not on the side of the road, because every minute that you're stopped on the side of the road and the officer standing there beside the car is the more danger that both of you are in. So they want to complete the traffic stop as quickly as possible. That's it for Rules of the Road. If you have any further questions, please visit our website for more information.
Ahead of its first block party celebration, the warehouse block opened a public art display. We were there for the unveiling.
Since my father first purchased his first property in this neighborhood to house his electric company back in 1986, the neighborhood's changed a lot. Progress for this neighborhood has moved at a snail's pace for over 3 decades. We weren't developers, we were redevelopers. We saved and restored old buildings that would traditionally meet their demise from the shadowy side of a wrecking ball, but instead we decided to save them. And we didn't have a developer's checkbook either. We moved, like I said, a snail's pace, because that's what we could afford, investing sweat equity above all other forms of investing. When I worked on this block as a kid, this was a place that my father would bring me to encourage me to get a good education and a good job. He said if you didn't do good in life, you'd end up down here. It was a rough spot. He also encouraged me to cut my hair as well, but that didn't pan out. This is a highly industrial neighborhood, and you didn't always feel comfortable cutting through at night. Initially, we rented to plumbers and HVAC techs, an armor car company, machine shops, a car rental company, and several other contractors. They're mostly independent businesses that just needed a place to call home, just a space. But over the years, the neighborhood has morphed organically into what it is today. I'm not saying that it's better, it's different. This newest incarnation has gone to great lengths to make this a neighborhood, more than just a rented spot to conduct business. It's become a community. I feel very honored to be the person who gets to stand up here and take credit for this amazing project that has involved so many working hands to get to this very moment. I hope you'll see this project for what it is. It's a gift from us at Walker Properties and the businesses down here at the warehouse block to not only our neighborhood, but our Mintel, Belcourt, and Kenwick neighbors, as well as the City of Lexington. It's a way to direct newcomers to the neighborhood, but for those of us who've been around for a long time, they're a reminder that we're almost home.
A pleasure to be here with you all today on behalf of the mayor and the council, and Councilmember Bledsoe, who is part of the Corridors Commission. I'm honored to chair that, and we had been asked to be partners in this, and I believe that we are that. And they brought us a great partnership opportunity, and that's what the Corridors does so well. We partner with folks to bring a little bit different look to each corridor. Sometimes it's art, sometimes it's plantings, like the big planting out at the intersection of Winchester and New Circle. This one's really elemental to what's going on. For just beyond this is Midland Avenue and everything we're doing for Town Branch. And just beyond this, you get all the way out to New Circle Road to get to our other planting. And there's great work to be done all up down through here, just as Chad talked about, that went on here on National Avenue. So on behalf of the mayor, the council, the Corridors Commission, it's a pleasure to have helped these folks, pleasure to be here today to see this, and then we will unveil, but you got to come back at night because they light up, and the lights will go with the colors of the season, the colors of the need, the colors of the opportunity. So Creating a neighborhood is about keeping that which is special and adding to it. You all have done that. We applaud you in so many ways. Pleasure to be with you all today. Thank you very much.
I think the pieces are simultaneously rough and refined. They're industrial yet approachable, and suffice to say, we love them. We think they're awesome. Each building inside the block has its own name and its own story. And when I was a kid, nobody really knew National Avenue. They just knew it's the road you go on to get to Christmas. Now the waypoints are locals. The place with the sales, or you turn right after Morningside, or we're trying to make this corner where it's not ugly anymore, and hopefully it's from now on will be, well, you turn right by those crazy things on the corner. So Locals is going to open up here in a little bit, and we'll grab a snack for anybody that wants to hang around. In the meantime, feel free to wander around the art garden and the Grove, and or hang out in the neighborhood, whatever you guys like. So appreciate everybody coming, and have a great Friday.
Stay tuned for the Festivals when we come back.
Geocaching is an outdoor activity. It seems simple. You use GPS coordinates to find boxes hidden in secret places around the world, but it may take some puzzle solving to get there. Think of it as an adventure in which you have the task of going out and exploring the world to find hidden treasure. Live Green Lexington has hidden 12 geocaches around the city. Each cache represents a theme about water quality. You will have the chance to learn more about stormwater, pollinator gardens, Reforest the Bluegrass, and the Citizens Environmental Academy. Each hidden cache contains a unique token that you can take and keep. Collect all 12 and you can win a prize. Ready to learn more about the ways we keep our water clean and healthy? Visit lexingtonky.gov/geocaching and start your journey.
Welcome back to Lexington Now. Lexington's annual Festivals celebrating Kentucky craft beer and its brewers is back in 2019 after a year off.
So Festivals is going to be in the pavilion again this year. We're expanding it a little bit more. We're going to have more brands than we've ever had, and we're also adding a VIP feature, which will be at Limestone Hall in the historic courthouse on the top floor. September 6th of this year, and it'll come with 20 tastings and a commemorative cup. The event this year is being presented by Visit Lex and Brewgrass Trail. So we're very excited to have them on board, and they're helping kind of further promote this whole craft beer movement. But at the VIP event that we're introducing this year, we'll add another feature for people who are wanting a little bit more craft beer excitement. It'll start at 5 o'clock at Limestone Hall, top floor of the historic courthouse. And this will be a beer and food pairing. So we'll have 8 breweries with a specialty or limited edition or experimental brew that will be paired with a small bite and probably some beer cheese. And those are all announced on the website. And they're not just Lexington, they're from all over Kentucky. So we're really excited about that. That will continue until about 6:30. And then that lounge is open to VIP ticket holders throughout the night, private bathrooms, air conditioning, seating. And then we'll have a live band and a bar up there as well after the general admission event is over. So we'll have several specialty brews, we'll have several one-offs, we'll have a couple of limited editions and experimental brews. Some brands are bringing you the favorites that you love. Some of them are bringing some things that they're wanting to kind of get out there a little bit more. So each brand in the general admission area will have 3 beers available on tap. And you'll have a tasting glass you'll get to go around and sample with. The nice thing about this event is that you get 20 tastings with your ticket. So you can come and try a dark beer if you're not a dark fan, and then not be obligated to this full 12 ounce or 16 ounce pour. So if you're a fan of a brewery, but you want to try to catch something on the front end, this is a great place to do it. And I think it's nice because you can pop from a cider to an amber to a log, back and forth, and get the full spectrum and full gamut without fully committing to a large drink and just really kind of get to explore everything. We'll have some food trucks out this year. We're going to have some live music. It's going to be a lot of fun. So they took a year off last year. They had formerly been working with a couple of different groups to produce the event. And events, it's one of those things where it gets to a certain point, it gets too big, there's too many moving parts, that sometimes you just need to take a break. You need to step back, reevaluate. We've introduced some new things this year, and we were excited to partner with them on producing this festival. There were a lot of breweries here locally, but there's a lot across Kentucky, and so I think it was an event that people loved. Almost 2,000 people have come out every year previously. So we took it and we took the core values of the event and what has always worked well, and then we added some new things. Online ticket sales. Ticket sales were released earlier than normal. We totally revamped the website. We're going to do a bunch of pop-up events at different locations, bars and breweries leading up to, where we'll have ticket giveaways and things like that. So we've not changed the event in its normal structure, but we've just added things to make it easier to access, easier to find out about, and hopefully bring more people out to experience Kentucky craft beer. Things like this happening downtown, it's great because it gets people down here. All of the breweries are not located in downtown, so it helps bring some folks who may be already down here mingling around, gets them in front of some of these places that maybe aren't in Lexington or aren't down here in this general vicinity. Again, it kind of gets people in front of craft beer when they might not otherwise be interested, or if they're a regular at one spot, maybe they get to try something else that they've not had before, and then they become a regular at a second spot or a third spot, maybe 10 spots. If you're from Lexington, you've probably done the circuit here, but maybe you've not tried some Louisville beers or Paducah or Winchester. We've got folks coming from all over, so it gives them an opportunity to get in front of those folks, and vice versa. Maybe we have some guests coming from Louisville who maybe haven't tried all the Lexington breweries. So I think it's a great opportunity to get people down here to see all that downtown Lexington has going on. So it's all regional with a heavy emphasis on Kentucky beer. The Brewgrass Trail and Visit Lex have done a great job of really promoting this craft beer scene. They just put out their new printed passport for Central Kentucky, and we're really excited to have them involved in the event and for them to help present this series. It's exciting because we do have so many great local breweries in Kentucky, and we're excited that almost all of them are participating, and we've got more and more coming on board every day. But there are some regional beers that people love, and we want to include them too, that aren't necessarily Kentucky based. So it'll be a heavy emphasis on Kentucky beer, but there are still going to be some regional folks that and love that everybody wants to have. We have a new website, lexfestivals.com. It's got all the information of who's participating, where they're coming from. As they announce what they're bringing, we'll have that on there as well. And you can get all the details on how to get tickets, what it includes, VIP, brands that are involved, and everything else.
The Festivals will be on September 6th at Cheapside Pavilion. For more information, visit lexfestivals.com. We take a look now at two markers of note in LGBTQ history on another episode of Marking History.
Markers 2539 and 2545 recall Central Kentucky's proud, rich LGBTQ history. Located in the front and rear of the bar complex on Main Street in Lexington, they tell the story of the significance of the location and the part it played in changing long-standing laws that discriminated against homosexuals. Dating back as far as the 20s and 30s as a gathering place, by 1939 it became known as the Mayfair Bar, and later, the Southern Cocktail Lounge, where gay patrons discreetly gathered. In 1963, the Gilded Cage opened. It was owned and operated by gay men John Hill and Esther Wilson. Drag shows and same-sex dancing were the draw for the Kentucky LGBTQ community. During the 60s, Rock Hudson and friends frequented the location while visiting horse country. Hudson would often take in a movie at the Kentucky Theater, next door to the Gilded Cage. Name changes to the establishment were frequent. In 1970, under the name The Living Room, the site hosted the wedding of Marjorie Jones and Tracy Knight, the first lesbian couple to sue for a U.S. marriage license. By 1978, the site was known as Johnny Angel, and later, The Bar. In the fall of 1985, Jeffrey Allen Wasson was arrested in the alley behind the bar during a police sting targeting male prostitution. Charged with sodomy, a long court battle ensued. In 1992, Kentucky v. Wasson reached the Kentucky Supreme Court. The state's high court struck down Kentucky's 130-year-old sodomy law, paving the way to eliminate similar statutes across the country. Today, the bar complex is famous nationwide for its history of being one of the earliest establishments to welcome people of all walks of life, and its enduring legacy of welcoming LGBTQ freedom of expression and entertainment.
This is the final week of the Council's summer recess, so we've got a lighter Lex TV televised meeting schedule with just one meeting on Thursday, the Planning Commission's subdivision items. You can catch it or any live meeting on Channel 185 or online, and any archived meeting on our website. That's all for this week. You can keep up with us on social media and check out the latest traffic updates on Twitter @LexRex, or catch our live traffic cams on LexingtonKY.gov. For the staff and producers at Lex TV, I'm Neil Noah, and that's it for now.